Pisces, hi. Ready for a general love reading today using the Llewellyn deck of cards, and I'll be starting with the Celtic Cross layout. And if this reading does resonate for you, it is a general reading. It may not resonate for everyone, but if it does resonate for you, then I will be doing an extended, and the information for that is in the box below. I'm also open now to take personal readings, and the information for that is also in the box below. All right, let's take a look and see where we're going, Pisces. Now, this is a general love reading, so it doesn't always relate to, like kind of romantic loves, but it does relate to heart-centeredness and passion and things, that relate to love. And also, just to let you know, the genders in the cards are not about male or female. They're about the divine masculine and feminine energies, which we all have both, and therefore feel free to interchange the. So if it shows up as a King of Cups, it could be a female or a male gender. All right. Pisces, where are we going here? Let's see. So we got the moon from the universe guiding you, and the moon is about kind of providing light into the hidden, so what I kind of feel like things are going to become clearer that are in a deeper recess of either imagination or your own kind of intuition. So going deeper into the dark, not the darker, I don't want to use that word, but more the hidden things that will be emerging now, okay? So that you can see clearly and then be able to zero in on and know kind of what to move on. And then I've drawn the Emperor there as a clarifier. So the Emperor is the dispassionate, objective, clarity that what shows up. So it's a non-judgmental. So once things do start to emerge from those places in you, this is not about discernment and judgment, but it is about seeing and observing and then coming to some conclusions, okay? Along with that, we've got the Chariot above you now as an influence, an energetic influence, and it tells me that now this isn't in the reading, it's an influence, so the time is coming closer when action will be taken in a major way. And that the Chariot is very disruptive, it's, gets things going, gets things moving, it moves in the direction that it's aimed at. And that's where the Emperor is getting clear with what shows up with the moon, beginning to illuminate some of that with the light of the moon. Okay, so the Eight of Wands is showing up in your past, and it feels to me like you have been, putting out a lot, like sending out a lot of communication. I could be like, with a small group, with another person, with the world, but I feel like there's been a lot of kind of conferencing, communicating going on here in your immediate past. I'm just going to draw a clarifier on that. And then the Ace of Pentacles is showing up. So kind of what I see is like there has been some movement in terms of opportunities, ideas, plans, concepts showing up here under the Ace of Pentacles. And I think that's been going back and forth in a communication process. So we'll see where that goes. You've got the Four of Pentacles on you now and the King of Cups. So the King of Cups is the cup, it's a king, which is awesome. So it's a very mature place to be. It's male or female. But it is about the creative energies starting to be on you now. So in a position of, putting all of it together with this communication and research, with the Ace of Pentacles and stuff in the past, knowing that there's movement at hand and sort of creatively beginning to process it and put it together in its, right now it's still in a kind of chaotic form, but I think, it'll start to take form as we start seeing, more Oh, we've got the Ace of Swords showing up over here, so that's good. So then moving in and zeroing in on focusing on certain parts of it. You've got the Four of Pentacles underneath, so it's kind of like keeping your feet on the ground, holding, this creative process is very interesting that I see happening here, because it feels like it's a very solid venture or communication, whatever, I can't quite zero in on exactly what it is, but what's coming out of this is definitely coming from the heart and from creativity, and also from a very grounded level. So you've got the two coming together. So it's it's something that is going to culminate in something concrete and measurable. Okay, you got the Seven of Swords at the base, and I'm just going to clarify that with the Four of Wands here. So this is the base where you have kind of left the playing field, okay, moved on, taken with you the ideas and the inspirations that have come to you, and taking those and moving them into another place, which is the Four of Wands here, where you can make, where you're going to commit to it, but it's a much less conflictual place. So taking it from a place where I think you felt like, oh, my ideas and, thoughts or something, there's too much, this is not a good environment for them. It doesn't feel safe. It's like a kind of a war zone, you know what I mean? So I'm going to take my ideas, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move to a place, which was what the Four of Wands represents. Now the Four of Wands is often called the 1111 card. So it's kind of like a place where there's a sense of commitment can be made there, because there's a sense of safety, serenity, where things can be celebrated and things can grow and develop in a much more spiritual environment. That's the 1111. Okay, then we've got the Four of Cups and the King of Pentacles showing up here. So I think with these ideas, I said, and all this communication that went on here, and culminating, so now taking that kind of energy and turning it into something greater than what you imagined, something more solid and like I said with the concrete thing here, more material, more narrowing it down to an actual thing, kind of. I'm having trouble with words here. Where you've got the King of Pentacles, so something that you can, market. Like, let's say if it's a project or if it's some kind of creative venture, it's something that will, bring back abundance, money, a place in the world, something solid, because we got the King of Pentacles there. So it's an idea that is, going to be manifest, already looking at it that way, that it's going to be manifest, in a concrete way again. So we've got all these kind of indications of that here. Then we've got the Ace of Swords showing up. So beginning to kind of zero in, you remember I said it's kind of vague at that point, but now zeroing in on the details and the, what's the word, I wouldn't say editing yet, but more kind of zeroing in on something that you can now put into action once it's created. So really getting, down to doing it, starting to do it, getting the ideas solid, so that, and this is a really exciting time because it's taking it from kind of the ethereal, where it's imagination and, a bit vague, into something that's now a lot more, okay, now I know this is kind of this, and this is this, and this is this. So it can actually be created now at this point. And, not, and because of this, and because you've moved it into the Four of Wands from, as I say, kind of that Seven of Swords thing, the war zone, being able to not have to defend yourself and being able to feel much freer, moving away from feeling, and that may have held up your ability to turn visions or imagination into something concrete before, because it didn't feel like the right place to, it's kind of like putting your baby, a child that you have, and putting them in something that may be in harm's way. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to defend this baby. I'm going to make sure it's safe. I'm going to, and so that kind of creates conflict, right? Because you're defending it and you're, feeling defensive. And so now being able to move beyond that defensive state, because it's now shown that there's a different environment that's showing up where this can happen, and in a really solid way, without having to feel like you're under threat in any way, like you have to defend yourself. Okay, and that's good to get all of this out of the way. And I think a lot of this has happened in this communication with the Ace of Pentacles here. A lot of this has been, back and forth kind of thing. Because we've got the Fool showing up in your subconscious. So this is moving now really quick. Well, I wouldn't say quickly because I don't know how long this took, but it's moving into a place of action already with the Fool, where you're now ready to leap, because this is your next journey. This is your next part of your life is showing up here. So it's not just an idea kind of stuff. This is like an actual path for you. And the Fool is moving into it feeling like not having to take a lot of doubts, which is that defensiveness, and a lot of things that aren't necessary, which the Ace of Swords will start to cut through, and then just freely moving into it with full intent and kind of in an excited way, because the Page of Swords is showing up. So it's kind of like in your environment, you and others have been on hold waiting for the right environment, the right moment, the divine timing to be able to move to the next stage. Okay, and that's what the Page of Swords is about, because this is whatever this is that is being created here is an act of love, right? So it's coming from the heart. It's coming from a very high, even romantic possibility place. So maybe I don't know if that is about the actual thing you're creating, but it's also coming from that place in you where you're expressing it in in a way that is quite sacred here, right? So I think that's why you've been so careful, as I say, moving beyond the Seven of Swords to the Four of Wands, and not having to be defensive. So you've kind of set the right environment in action, and I understand why now. In a position of what you want is the Empress. So you really want, the Empress represents the time of abundant, of overflow of creativity, actually giving birth to it, actually putting it out into the world. Okay, and that's what I see showing up here in a position of your hopes, is that the timing is right. It's like, gestation period is over. It's time for me now to give birth to this, and that's in position of what you want. The Eight of Cups shows that in order to do, with the Fool and move on to the next stage, it's leaving behind a sense of what you already have built in terms of a kind of a nurturing environment for yourself. So leaving that there, it's not going to go away. It's there, but I'm already feeling like I'm going to have to now move beyond it, and I don't exactly know what that looks like, but I do know, because the Fool's here, that I'm going to be moving into some sense of manifesting. So Pisces, I hope this was, helpful. I will be if this does resonate for you, I'll be doing an extended reading to take a look at where you're heading with this, and in terms of the Empress and what that looks like, and also in terms of this Lover's card showing up with kind of what what's being manifest here as the Fool moves on to the next journey. I'm going to draw an oracle now to close this off. And we've got movement. Aha. So that's what I'm saying. So the outcome of this is already knowing that movement is at hand. And already knowing that, okay, I've got to leave this sanctuary, or the sense of safety that I built around, a nurturing environment, and move beyond that now. But you've done your due diligence here. I can see that. Okay, well, thanks very much, Pisces. And if this relates to you, I will see you in the extended reading.